Welcome to the Digital Transformation Forum. Today's video is a tutorial on how to install Teamcenter 4-tier environment. In this video, we will walk you through the installation process step by step. But we should note that the installation of the database server is typically done by another team, and we will not be covering it in this video. Before we begin, it's important to make sure your system meets the requirement for installing Teamcenter 4-tier environment. You will need a compatible operating system, a supported database server, and enough storage space for the software and data. On the screen, you can see the requirements to follow the steps shown in this video. For more generic one, check the official Siemens website for the full list of requirements. We have downloaded and kept the necessary software locally, as keeping them on shared drive slows down the installation procedure. Once software installable are available, we can begin the installation process. There are two ways to launch the Teamcenter installation window. First, by launching the command prompt as an administrator from the Teamcenter installable location, and then running the temp.bat from there with a JRE argument. Second, by setting up the Java environment variables on the operating system and then launching the temp.bat as an admin from the Teamcenter installable location. When you launch temp.bat from Teamcenter base installable location, you can only add the patch for Active Workspace or microservices. But if you want to combine the patch for other major or minor version, for example Teamcenter 14.2, then we have a trick for you. You can launch the temp.bat from Teamcenter 14.2 patch installable location and then combine all the base and Active Workspace or microservices patch to save time. Let us follow the on-screen steps which we will guide you through. Select the installation language and click OK. We are installing the Teamcenter product, hence select Teamcenter and click Next. Now you are prompted with numerous options. To make the video short, we will not cover every option. Let us know if you want us to cover all these options in detail and we will make a separate video on it. For now, we will select Install and click Next. Let us provide the original media location, which is the Teamcenter base version. In our case, it is Teamcenter 14.0. Next, we will combine the microservices and Active Workspace patch by providing those patch location as well. And let us proceed next. Here you provide the installation configuration ID and description so that it is easily identifiable. Once you provide the needed information, we proceed to solution selection. You can do the installation of each of these solutions turn by turn, but as we want to save time, we will select as many features as we can. Note that rich client 2-tier and 4-tier option cannot be combined with each other. Hence, for now, we only select the 2-tier client. Next, we first define the location where we want to install the Teamcenter application server, and then select the features we need. Again, we are selecting as many features as we can to combine it all in a single installation setup, giving you an idea how installation time can be reduced. Main features to select are Active Workspace Gateway, Active Workspace Client, Indexing Engine and Indexer, Visualization Server, Server Manager, Teamcenter Management Console, File Management System Server Cache, Microservices Framework, and Dispatcher. We are selecting few more features like Product Configurator, Change Management, Issue Management, as we needed them for future topics. Once you are done with feature selection, click Next and provide the Java Development Kit location. Next is to provide the Microservices Framework master node password. This is used to protect the key store files and ensure only authorized person can access the microservices. We have skipped the BMID template selection as it automatically adds the needed one, and any extra template can be added later point of the time. Now we provide the FSC ID, which is configurable according to your organization standard, and similarly you can configure the FSC to your custom port. If you check advanced option, you can provide the cache, proxy, FCC default, volumes, and etc. options. We want to configure the FMS service as a local user, hence we define the logon credentials. Note here, we now have the Cloud DSS, which is the Cloud Data Storage System for FMS, providing Teamcenter admins with a scalable and flexible storage solution. Next is about database connection. Here we are selecting Create and Populate Database with Create New Data Directory. As we have clean database available, Rest of the options will be explained in future videos. Let us select the database server as MS SQL, provide the database host and port. Next is to define our Teamcenter Database Connect logon username and set password for that user. We also need to define the table space we want to use within the database for that user. Now we move ahead to provide the database connect user which we got from the database team and provide the database path. Collation you can keep as is but enable the UTF-8. Last is to provide the Teamcenter data directory. Next is the volume definition with its name and location. Further, next we define the transient volume directory and enable server and client cache. Now we provide the Teamcenter administrative user. By default it is InfoDBA. Password you get to choose what you want. We suggest to keep it as simple as you can without using any special character. Next is to provide the directory where encrypted passwords will be stored. You can define the access security to that directory so that only authorized user can run any utility with encrypted password file. Next is operating user credentials, and then we define the indexing engine user credentials. By default, the Solar schema files are stored under Teamcenter data directory. We suggest to leave it as is. Enable the install indexing engine as a service as we do not want to run it as via command prompt. Next is to choose the encoding. Best is to go with UTF-8, which your database is enabled with. We suggest to leave MUX port as default. If you decide to enable the SSL, you can do it via Advanced tab. Next is the server manager setting. Important here is the maximum and minimum server pool and startup mode. We prefer to use it as a service or daemon. Again, go to Advanced if you want to enable SSL. Defining Teamcenter cluster, as we are enabling the Teamcenter management console, needs database, hence we select create user and database for TC cluster. We will reutilize the same database which we are using for Teamcenter application installation. Only thing we change is the database name, which is the tablespace name and the login credential for that tablespace. Rest remains the same. For Active Workspace indexer setting, we select standalone indexing environment as we want to run it in a controlled way. Provide the Teamcenter web tier URL, which is your Tomcat port, and Teamcenter war file name. You can ignore the warning, default value is enough for us. On the indexing type, select the object data indexing as we only want to search for objects in Teamcenter Active Workspace. Define the start time for indexing, which will index all objects created or modified after that time. Anything before that will not be indexed. As it is a new environment, we provide the latest date and time as midnight. If you have enabled the visualization server pool, we define the host and 4-tier URL. Access Manager read expression, we will leave it blank. Next is Gateway Setting 1. Provide web tier URL and FMS URL. Gateway security setting is important as these keys will be needed for Teamcenter WAR file generation to use microservices. Define the JMX configuration to communicate with Teamcenter Management Console. Web is for Teamcenter web application where WAR file is deployed, and JMX for server pool connection. Define the FCC parent for 2-tier client FCC. We define the 2-tier setting. Enabling single server as false will allow multiple user login on the same server for 2-tier client. Ours is not an SSO enabled environment, hence we leave those variables blank. Teamcenter server character encoding is set to UTF-8. Next is Active Workspace client setting, defining the gateway URL and client locale. We are not selecting the publish to gateway yet, as we will do that later once installation procedure is complete. Next is the Active Workspace search engine URL, which is automatically compiled for you. Next is to provide the Teamcenter license server details. Next is dispatcher configuration. We provide the dispatcher root directory and enable install schedule, module, and admin client. We will install them as Windows service. Next is to select needed translator. We only need async service for now. We provide the credential for the dispatcher proxy user and 4-tier URL. Finally, review the database template which will be installed. At this stage, if you want to enable or disable any feature, you can still go back and do that. All the information is not lost. Once you have reviewed the template, click Next and start the installation procedure. Depending upon your server, both application and database, plus the network speed, it might take a couple of hours. And we hope the installation process runs smoothly for you as well. Once the installation procedure is complete, you will get the success message at the end of the installation. Now we will see how to generate the Teamcenter WAR file. First, let us go to the Teamcenter installable location, under which you will find the web tier directory. Execute the install tcweb.exe to extract the web root by specifying the directory where you want to extract the web root. Launch command prompt as administrator and run the insweb.bat. First step is to copy the ICD files from the base and patch location. Then we reload them and add our configuration. Define the name of the application and specify the directory where you want to install. We can define the WAR file name and timeout setting by going to the Advanced Web Application options. Next is to add the disk location for all the patches. Note this is one directory above the ICD location. Now define the pull configuration to communicate with the web tier. Important is the server manager URL. You can find it from the configuration.xml, which is the base file containing all the information we provided at the time of Teamcenter installation. This solution is enough for enabling the 4-tier client, but we want to also enable the Active Workspace. Hence, we go to the next steps of copying the ICD file from microservices framework. Before we proceed further, please extract the microservices keys.zip file, which is available under tc_root jwt config tool. We unzip it to the same location. Now we go back to the insweb and add the disk location of the unzipped microservices keys. The path we need to provide is until the signer_config location. Ensure to enable the microservices solution as shown and then click OK. Under the configuration, please provide the Teamcenter cluster name and ensure microservices is enabled and the URL is correct. Once the solution is installed, we deploy the WAR file by copying it to the web application. The WAR file is generated under the web root location, configuration name, here it is TC, and deployment folder. Last step is to enable the publish to gateway by launching temp.bat. Follow the on-screen steps and it should be done in a couple of minutes. After the installation is complete, it's important to verify that it was successful. Check the log files under TC root install folder for any errors or warnings. You can also run the diagnostic test to make sure everything is working properly. Here we will do it by logging into the Active Workspace client. And that's it. We have successfully installed Teamcenter 4-tier environment. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comment box. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more tutorials like this one. Thank you.